Greetings, everybody. It's Jim, and I am glad to be back making videos again after a small 2-week hiatus because the last 2 weeks have been crazy kinds of busy, not in a bad way. Very productive, a lot of good things happening. Basically, as many of you know, I work with marketing and Kickstarters for other game companies for a living, and we just got done doing the Hardbacks of Harn Kickstarter for Columbia Games. Almost $50,000 and over 1,000 backers. I mean, it was immensely huge. It was just terrific. Also, it was their Columbia Games is ecstatic about this result because this was the first in a series of 9 of these Kickstarters. This is just going to be huge for them going on further down the road. And for those of you who don't know Harn, check the link down below. Get a sample, and not a small one, 200 pages of fantasy material for $1. Go ahead, check it out, read it, use it in your next campaign. You'll probably be back. And on a personal note, my brother and I finally got our fantasy counter kits for our Kickstarter out of customs. It took a month and a half to wait. Our transport got picked, and we had to wait. I guess ours was way in the back or something like that, but it took forever. It felt like forever. But as everything came in, luckily it was very organized, had it all ready to go. Everything went out. All the backers have gotten their stuff by now. Some of them are still in transit, but this has really been a very successful Kickstarter, especially for my brother who, because of this project, is now working for Steve Jackson Games and drawing for him for the Bestiary project for the fantasy trip. But anyway, these are all the crazy things that is happening in my life recently, but now I get back to videos, and you already seen the first part of this video about the review, but now today, I'm going to be going over with you a scenario report for Dimension Demons from Metagaming. So here we have the map board already and set up to go. We have the humans on the bottom of the blue divider and the demons up top. Now, if you remember from my previous video, this is a mirrored universe. So in other words, on the human side, the hex that is on the bottom left of the board is the same hex on the demon world on the upper left of the board. Okay, that's the exact same spot in space and time. All right. So basically, humans set up first, demons set up next, and the object of the game is for the demons to wipe out all the humans. Simple enough, period. Right? Okay, and for the humans, their object is, of course, they could wipe out all the demons. But a possibly easier task is just to keep the demons from establishing a foothold on their turf for 5 turns straight. Because believe me, it's not as easy as it seems, especially if you pick the wrong forces. Let's go over how that happened. So here are the forces that I chose for battle. Now, you do choose from a point total, so you get to do a little variation from game to game. And for the humans, I chose 5 infantry, 5 grav tanks, because they are very speedy, and 1 thumper for fun. All right, but my mistake came down to the demons because my inner instinct said I'm invading, so I'm going to need ground forces. So I picked 12 demons, 2 breeders for replenishment, and only 1. This is the big one. The only 1 tesseract for transport. The tesseract was like 1/5 of all my points, so I was thinking, okay, I'm only going to pick 1 of those. That was a mistake. And let me show you why. Because the thing is, to establish a foothold in the game, because remember, the humans will win if you don't put one in, and don't establish a foothold, 5 turns in a row. So to establish a foothold, a demon has to enter a city hex. The second they do, they build a tesseract in the human world, and they can use that, which keeps them in the world. Because if they don't have a tesseract at the end of the turn, any demons that are in the human world pop back. So it's like they can only do hit and run attacks, and that's not good. Now the thing is, when they do transport to the other world, it's not that they take the demons and go to the mirror hex on the opposite side. Not at all. You can actually pick to go anywhere on the human world. It's just that you scatter more the further you are from that mirror hex. But the thing is, even on that mirror hex, if you were to say just land on the mirror hex, it still scatters like 50% of the time. And why is that a problem? Well, the problem is because on the first turn, the demons only can move 1. So basically, the only way to establish a foothold is to really get on any turn that they land before they have to pop back anyway, is to land near a city hex and then move 1 to get into that hex. All right. So if they scatter all over the place, it doesn't matter. They're going to get pop shots from the humans. And even if they survive, they're just going to go back. So you have to establish a foothold there, and that's what happened. Here's turn two. Basically, it's the same thing. I mean, all the guys just converge on them. They were trying to get on over, and I found this out. I was playing. I'm like, oh, they pop back on a turn where there's not a tesseract. That did not make my day, but that's what went on for the first two turns. Now, for the first two turns, things were terrible because, again, I picked only one Tesseract. I can only bring two demons over, and they were scattering all over the place. And if you recall from my other video, when the demons come in from their world to our world, they don't necessarily go to that mirror hex in the other world. You can send them anywhere you want. It's just that the closer they are to the mirror hex, the less chance they got of scattering. So what was happening was they were scattering anyway, because it's a good chance that they're going to scatter even then. But the problem is the demons only have a movement of one on their first turn in the human world. All right. So if they don't get if you don't scatter low or have enough demons at least for one of them to make it, like I only had two a turn, you're going to have some problems. And it wasn't until turn three I got lucky enough where one demon made it. They got on a city, created a tesseract, and they used the double defense of the city to defend themselves against the humans coming in at them. And even though they got destroyed, which you could see here on the board, there's no demons on that board. They have to land on the tesseract for a full turn to destroy it. So I got a foothold there, and now things are going to get interesting. So turn four, of course, the star of the show was the lonely tesseract from turn three. After all that hard work, the knee-jerk reaction, even though some options were better, as we'll see in turn five, the knee-jerk reaction was to throw some demons at it and try to secure it. Unfortunately, they still scattered a little bit too far away from it. The human player got in and got to be able to destroy it. And of course, the demons didn't do too well in the fight either. They ended up with some disrupted as they got into the other universe. But let's see what happens on turn five. Now, here we are on turn five, and a little bit of a silver lining shows up for the demon player. See, the thing is, even though there was a weak attempt at establishing a foothold on turn three and four, it did demand a lot of the human player's attention. As you can see, they're spread out a little bit. Now, the thing is, the demon player said, okay, we're going to go over to this far city over here. Granted, it's really far away from the mirror hex of the transport, so it could scatter a lot more, but it didn't. They got lucky. They got into a city and established a foothold. So now the human forces have to make their way all the way on over. There was a little battle here a little bit, and some human players got disrupted. So a little bit of luck for the demon player. Now, I got to reiterate what I said in the previous video about how combat works here. Okay, when you attack, okay, the other forces get to attack first, even if you choose not to attack. So the thing is, they just got done attacking last turn. If you're still in range, they're going to attack. So the only thing that changes is if you move away. So it is a kind of interesting thing. So you got to keep that in mind, especially when other units are disrupted. That means more than just them losing a turn. The thing is, you're going to get another chance to attack them right away and change that result, because anytime you disrupt a disrupted unit, it is destroyed. But that's what happened on turn five. Let's go on to turn six. Now, there were two temptations going into turn six, and one of them seemed really reasonable, and that would be to take two demons and go to one of the lesser guarded cities on the other side, now that the humans were going to take care of that problem on the left-hand side of the board. But again, there would be no guarantees. It's with two of them, it's just as much of a problem to get it. I got lucky with that one, so that wasn't going to work out. Because remember, they were going to pop back. Even though there's a tesseract on the field, you have to be within 5 hexes of it to not, pop back into the other universe. So chances are they were going to pop back anyway. Maybe I'd get lucky, but it would be better to just try to defend. So that's what I did. The second temptation was, of course, to just bring a breeder over right now and hope it would survive, it being an easy target and all. But I didn't want to do that either. The thing is, the breeders, though, are a big deal, because once you establish a breeder in the human territory, basically they pop out one a turn, and those warriors never leave, even if all your tesseracts get destroyed. They never pop back. They are born in the human world. That is where they stay. Very interesting strategies indeed. So let's go to turn seven and see what happens. So turn seven's where things really got washed out for the demon player. As you can recall, there were a few more forces on the board on the left-hand side of the demon player. They're not there now, but there was enough there that I thought, okay, they're going to be good enough to go. We'll take these two demons and we'll try to move to another foothold on the bottom right of the human player. Of course, they didn't. They scattered all over the place, and the next thing you know, bloop, they go back, as you can see on the upper part of the board, where their mirror part of the universe is. Not only did they not establish a foothold, now they got to take a trek to get back to the Tesseract, which isn't a big deal. There's enough forces there to keep going for a number of turns by the time they get there. But that was a thing. Imagine if they were all the way across the board, which is another reason why you gotta watch it. You just don't want to send them willy-nilly unless there's a Tesseract over there on the human side that they can stay on, because they'll be all the way across the board. Oh my goodness. But anyway, as far as what happened with the demon player on the human side of the board on the left side, they just got wiped. That pounder, that big tank, the thumper, is just devastating at 2-to-1 odds. And of course, they fire before the demon player gets to attack, and they fire on their own turn, so they're getting two wipeouts there, and that's what really did it. So it was a devastating turn 7 for the demon player. Let's go on to turn 8. Do they recover? Now, turn 8 is where the pendulum just swung towards the demon player for the good. I mean, everything they rolled was gold, if not platinum. I mean, they didn't really get any kill results, but they disrupted everything, and they survived everything that the humans could throw at them. Luckily, the Tesseract's right there. The demon on top of it is on the top of a city, so they got double defense, surviving the shot from the thumper. Just ineffective as all heck get out. And again, it comes down to when you want to attack, the other player gets to attack first, who just got done attacking you. A little bit weird, but it's interesting gameplay, the way to think things out. Because anybody with range, like the only things with range are the GEVs and the thumpers. So they're the ones that you can actually move away and attack and not worry about getting attacked back. But any infantry units are just going to slug it out and just stay there if they want to attack at all. But anyway, turn 8 was definitely gold. Do they hold the advantage? Can they get a breeder over, which is coming soon? And there it is. The breeder on the upper left-hand corner on turn 9 lands and is going to be completely a lot of problems. The human forces are completely committed to take care of this threat, because it's worse than the Tesseract. The Tesseract, of course, lets demons come over, but it's that breeder that is going to breed a new warrior every single turn. If they don't take care of that, they are going to lose. And the thing is about the breeder, once again, any warriors that come from that don't have to worry about Tesseracts. They will not pop back. I have to recall whether the breeders will pop back, though. I have to wonder about that. That would be too much, maybe. So basically, maybe if they can take care of that Tesseract, all will be good. But right now, as you could see, the demons are holding their own. They're not really knocking off anybody, but at the same time, they're not getting destroyed either, which is all we need. What happens now on turn 10? So it looks like the demons are living up to their name, because any good luck given comes at a great price. Even though they've established a very good foothold, they still got the Tesseract, and they just bred their first warrior from the breeder. The problem is, when transporting more from the Tesseract over from the demon world, a unit landed on a breeder, and when you land a dimension jump onto another unit, whether it be friend or foe, it is destroyed, and the breeder is no more. So now it looks like it's just going to be a big old fight, because we got one breeder left. Can it make it over? So the big question from turn 10 was asked: can the demon player bring the breeder over? Well, turn 11 had its answer, and it was no. Just got wiped out real easy. And it looks like right now the question for turn 12 will be, can the human player mop up? Now, the thing is, the demon player still has many units on the board, and they are more powerful than everything except for the big thumper. Will they be able to take care of that and neutralize that threat? So turn 12 proved that this was absolutely a mop-up operation for the human player. Basically, there was only a couple of demons on the board at this point, and if by some miracle they did take care of all the human players that were around them, it comes down to that tank down below that proves it all worthless, because it's got a 6 hex range and a 2-to-1 shot ratio. So it was going to take care of all the demons, even if they chased them, because the tank's got enough speed to make that a very slow crawl. And remember, it doesn't shoot just on its turn, it gets to shoot on the demon's turn as well. So 2 shots a turn at a 2-to-1 ratio, forget about it. It was over. It was at turn 12 that I called it a victory for the human player. Now, please like and subscribe, everybody. I can't tell you enough how that means, not just for my ego, but to get these videos out to the ether and everybody gets to see it. The more people like it, the more people the YouTube sends it to other people to see the stuff. All right. So please like and subscribe. I had a lot of fun with this game. I would like to see actually a lot of. I wonder if anybody's made their own scenarios. I'm gonna have to check Board Game Geek on that because I would like to see maybe other scenarios of other units. I could see this being an ogre scenario easily enough. I'd like to see that in there. That could be done. But anyway, guys, that's the video on Dimension Demons, and I'll see you next time.